Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back here to the NEXXTCAR Podcast. That is right. You heard me correct. We are back and better than ever. Hey, it's been a long 8 months, but the same show, the same host, and I am joined with the same guys, Matt Tucker and Peyton Tullock. What is going on, fellas?
We're back, Ronnie.
What's
What's
up?
going on?
Not much, buddy. It feels great to be back in here. Let's get NEXXTCAR back to where it was, and it all starts right here on this podcast. A lot of guys missed it, and I am one of them. So it feels good to be back and glad to have you guys back up here with me.
Yeah, it's been a minute. It's awesome to be back in the podcast group. We have so much to talk about. So much missed things last 8 months. We got a lot to go over with this podcast, huh?
Yeah, we really do. How you guys been? Tuck, how you been, buddy?
I mean, pretty good. I think if the last time we did a podcast that we have to go back and look, but I feel like it was like back when Byron was doing the freaking Daytona 500.
Yeah, it's been quite a while. Lots happened, like Peyton mentioned, not just in the league, but in NASCAR, in other sports. You know, a lot of things have happened, a lot of big things. But Peyton, how you been?
I've been pretty good, man, and that's crazy to think about. Yeah, I've graduated college since then. Started a job and everything. That's just, man, I didn't realize how long it's been. Jesus.
Yeah, it's been a hot minute, but hey. But yeah, Peyton, you absolutely nailed it, man. You know, you talked about things changing, not only in real life, but right here in NEXXTCAR. You know, and the biggest thing that we're going to get this podcast started off with is the big topic that started season 6. You know, I wasn't here for it, but longtime league owner, dating all the way back to NASCAR Heat 4 when Nick and I started NEXXTCAR. Nick made the big announcement, really kind of shocked the NEXXTCAR world, really. I don't think anyone really saw it coming, but a lot of things were going on. He had to step back, so he stepped out of that ownership role in NEXXTCAR, and that brought me from co-owner to league owner. And then Tuck, you were, for lack of better terms, kind of the beneficiary of that, where you went from just an admin role to now a co-owner.
Yeah, I mean, Nick obviously had stuff going on with his life. I mean, we all know like this is like just like a hobby for all of us. So the more that we can do to put out, I know he was struggling with that and decided to step down, but he's still around, so that's good. And got some more news with Nick later on. We'll probably talk about too. But yeah, I mean, just moving up, and me and David just tried to get through last season with season 6, and I feel like we did that with the best of our abilities with you gone. And I mean, Peyton stepped up too in admin role also, and then also I know Andrew Bolander, and then also Cam Jester stepped into a big role too as well. So we did all that we could to get season 6 finished and started and finished, and I think it was successful. But no, just like you said, looking forward to getting back into the good old days that we've done with the podcast, your broadcasting, and just trying to get things back where they were. So I think with this like preseason preview of our racing that we're doing tonight with this podcast, it's going to be set up for a good season 7.
Yeah, absolutely, man. You know, you mentioned it. It all starts right here with the podcast. Obviously, the broadcast is coming back this season as well. And, you know, huge, you mentioned David stepping up to help you, Peyton stepping up, and we'll get to them in a second while we're talking about the booth broadcast. A big shout out to going to be my new co-host for the booth broadcast in the truck series, Michael Lanfear. You know, he's stepping out of that number 13 truck, and he is stepping up into the booth broadcast. He's going to be, I hope he dressed just like Peyton did tonight in that suit. The only thing he's missing is that tie, but he's trading in that driver's suit for a suit to join me up in the booth. So it's going to be great. I think he's going to bring a lot to the booth. But yeah, you know, you mentioned it, Tuck. Yeah, huge shout out to everyone that stepped up while I was gone. Truly appreciated. You know, it kind of all hit at once. You know, I left. Then Nick had to step down. And I kind of was like, all right, Tuck, David, here's the league. It's all yours now. And I couldn't thank you guys enough. Peyton, obviously you, Kat, Andrew, and Cam for stepping up, because, you know, it couldn't have been easy for you guys.
Yeah, it definitely was an interesting season to say the least. We definitely felt, a hole that had to be filled as much as we could with you and Nick both kind of stepping away. But I'm glad you're back. You know, it's going to be exciting having everybody back on. I know Nick's supposed to be more active this season. You can tell, like, around the garage, for lack of better words. There's more energy in the league going on right now, so pretty excited to see how the season's going to go. But I still think season 6 we had a lot of fun, a lot of stuff happened. Wish you'd been here for it, but hey.
The same old drama. I mean, that never went away. I mean,
hey,
there's always something going on each week. So
as long as NEXXTCAR's in existence, the drama will be there. We can guarantee you that.
I mean, heck, Peyton got mad at me for not even pushing a dude to a win, and he still got mad.
Yeah. I mean,
he says, "Yeah,
yeah." Let's not talk about that one. Cam should have won that race, man. Gosh dang it!
I guess that's staying in the past.
You're talking about Adam. We ain't talking about that crap, Mister Play. Yeah, you're talking about Auto Club with Adam, Mister Playoff. Manipulator here.
Whatever.
Yeah. Damn lap car be pushing a leader. Yeah, a lap car Tuck decided to push him.
I'll show you the replay after this, Ronnie. I don't even touch him, and he still gets mad at me.
Actually, I do believe you posted the video in the admin chat.
Yeah, yeah, I did. Yeah, this guy.
You manipulated that crap being crap. You knew what you were doing.
Whatever. Mr. Wannabe college mid-major coach dressed up like one.
Hey, be upset. I dressed to impress, Welcome to by the way, all the new people are watching tonight. I know we have some new faces in the league, probably tuning in the first time. I want to make a good first impression. Don't be hating on it.
Hey, it's appreciated. And then you got me and Tuck in our normal street clothes.
Yeah, we just woke up.
But, all right. Well, that's done and out of the way. Let's move on to our next topic. You guys have talked about it. The drama was still here for season 6. So, Peyton, I got to ask you, man, when are you finally going to get that championship in what was the Truck Series, but last season turned into the Xfinity Series?
Yeah, it's one of those things, man. Like, Cup, I feel really good. I mean, I've won 3 championships in there, had a lot of success. Have had no problem getting wins and everything, but any other series, whether it be Truck or in last season Xfinity, I just love finishing runner-up and daggum everything. End up finishing runner-up in the championship race. It's been a struggle in those series, and I'm excited for Truck to be back. I kind of missed it, so we'll see. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if it's just bad luck or if I need to really kind of work on getting better in those cars. Maybe I'm just really good in the next gen. I don't know, but I don't know, man. Maybe I just need some Tuck luck down there.
So before we dive into the full recap of last season, I want to get both your opinions on, obviously, this was not the first time that Xfinity has made its debut in NEXXTCAR. It was back there in season 2 or 3, I believe. I don't remember which one.
Season 2.
Season 2. But how was the Xfinity cars? What was your experience driving them? How was the racing overall with them?
I mean, for me, the racing was fantastic. I mean, I can't remember what tracks we ran on. Peyton would have to talk about memory, but I know for a while, the intermediates were probably our bread and butters, like Charlotte. I know Kansas was really fun too, at the end of the year. But most of the racing was close. I mean, it's a lot more different than the Truck. You'd have to lift more than what doing the Trucks. But I think if we ever get the chance to expand again, like I would love to have all 3 series, but we're gonna have to get numbers up, which that's what we're doing right now. But just trying to get back things going. But yeah, I would love to see the Xfinity Series back with us.
Yeah, I definitely agree with Tuck on that one. Xfinity was definitely a new monster, as in where you compare it to like Truck and Cup. The next gen car and the Truck Series both are notorious for you get pretty tight. Like those cars are pretty snug. Usually it's all about trying to make sure you save tires so you're not plowing into the run. The Xfinity car actually drove with a little bit of a kick to it. It would get loose. You kind of had to be careful with that car, and tire saving was really important because you could wear out the right front, but you could also wear out that right rear, depending how your driving style was. So really like the dynamic. You could tell those first few weeks, even a lot of fast guys in NEXXTCAR, without the history, were struggling in the car. There was that big learning curve, but like Tuck said, as the year went on, the racing continued getting better and better. We had some heck of a battles, and I really hope that we can get Xfinity back at some point. I get why when way this season kind of had to get truck back going and focus on those numbers for 2 series. But like Tuck said, if we ever get to expand, we'd love to see it to come back because it was some fantastic racing.
So what I'm hearing is the Xfinity series is more of a you've got to drive the car versus the trucks is more of a driver's friend.
Correct.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree with
Yeah.
that.
Xfinity cars show who's good and who needs more practice.
So after driving both series in NEXXTCAR, which is your favorite between trucks and Xfinity?
Definitely Xfinity for me, even though I've won multiple championships too. I would say Xfinity.
Not to discredit truck, I would say Xfinity by a slight margin. However, I do think the truck series offers a little bit closer racing for the most part. You can have some really crazy battles in that series because of how the trucks are. Whereas Xfinity, I think it's much easier to pass usually if you say your tires right and everything. So I don't know. It depends what you have. Are you more a guy that likes tire saving? The field will spread out a good bit, or are you more like that? Close in racing. That's what trucks will give you usually.
All right, so you were saying, obviously Xfinity, you got to be a better driver. So what last season made David stand out a little bit and get that championship?
I mean, it just came down to one race is what he was hanging around. I mean, I basically led the majority of the final race at what was that Homestead, and then it just came down to pit strategy, which that's something David does well at is just strategy. So he puts himself in the right spots to win races, and that's why he's a 2-time champion and multiple-time winner. So yeah, I mean he gets the job done. And he outsmarted me at the end.
Yeah, that's pretty much how it went. I mean, you had guys that, like I said, it took a while for guys to learn this car. Once everybody got it down, we had some great battles up front, and there really was a handful of guys that could have easily won the championship. With this format, it all comes down to one race, and David got us. I mean, we did not think that his strategy was the right one at the end. Me and Tuck both were on different strategies, and David got us. So, shout out to David. It was a bold strategy, and it worked out for him.
Yeah, absolutely, because no championship ever comes easy here in NEXXTCAR, whether it's trucks, Cup, or now Xfinity. And, it's like you mentioned, when we expand, because I do see that in our future, maybe not next season, but we got to see what those numbers are. Maybe the season after that. I would love to have all three premier NASCAR series. And, if Xfinity is as well as I've heard it is, and the drivers are the cars, because you can beat a little bit more of those more than you can the next gen, correct?
No, the Xfinity cars are fragile.
Oh,
I was
really?
about to say,
You make slight contact with somebody, you're getting 20, 25 seconds of damage.
yeah. They are very
Yeah.
much less forgiving, both as a driver driving the car and with contact. Much
Yeah.
easier car to break and much easier car to just lose control of.
So what I'm hearing then is you got to be more of a careful driver, and you can't make those dumb decisions.
Correct.
Which is why I'm confused. Tuck had a good season last year in Xfinity, but hey.
Hey, I had the least amount of incident points, and I'm still getting crapped on. I don't want to hear it.
So let's transition to the other side of the league, to the next gen. Obviously next gen is next gen. We've had that in the last 6 seasons, and obviously it's making its return once again next season, season 7. But we'll talk about that here in a little bit. But, so Colin Ballinger, shout out to him, able to get his first championship in NEXXTCAR across the board. So shout out to him. What did he do last season? Obviously, you mentioned with David, it came down to the one race. But for Colin, how was he from the regular season into the transition of the playoffs? Was he kind of like Joey Logano where, all right, cool, I won my race, now I'm going to make the playoffs, and then in the playoffs, did he just shine? Or what was his season like?
Well, long story short, I mean, we had that makeshift playoff thing, and he only ran a couple races in the regular season, and then that's how he was able to get into the playoffs, and then he dominated the playoffs. So yeah, it's kind of like Logano then, kind of like Logano's season where he doesn't showed up at the end. So I don't race Cup anymore, but some of the races when I would jump in there, I mean, you always see him up at the front too. So I mean, he's very skilled in what he he does on the track, and he's a contender, whether it's any other series too. So not just Cup, if he runs Xfinity or Truck too. Runs up front, you always expect to see him up front and leading laps and then winning races also. So, yeah, I mean that battle that him and Andrew had at the end, and then Peyton, I forget who was else in the championship for also, but that Homestead, they had an epic battle, and then yeah, he was the one that also had good strategy and was able to get the championship too.
Yeah, I don't like you call it a makeshift playoff. I mean, what ended up happening was Colin took advantage of guys near that bubble struggling, some guys missing
Correct.
races, and he ended up making the playoff. He snuck his way
Modified
in.
is what I should have said. Modified
But
playoff.
I mean, how this format is. Once playoff happens, the only thing can happen, and he turned his game on. And Cat wasn't in the final four, but you do remember he ended up winning the race. But it was a battle between me and Colin. It was tight, but I was feeling really good. I thought that was, the 4-peat, 4 in a row. I felt really good about it entering the race, and at the last run, Colin just did a little better at saving me on tires, so he ended up getting me. I was more focused on fuel, and he got lucky. He ran out the line, but. Hey, it was a heck of a battle yet again. That's a championship that, as always in NEXXTCAR, anyone could have won. So these things are hard to get, and Colin drove his, quite frankly, just drove his ass off in the playoffs and got it done. It's an interesting track because you got two. I mean, you can, hold the bottom, probably stay a little bit tired, but that top lane's gonna be quicker. So you got a bit of strategy. That was something we missed in the Xfinity series we didn't talk about. David was very much heavily on the top, which we all thought would burn tires, which it
I
historically
ran the
does at
bottom
that
the
track.
whole race.
But David somehow made that line work. So Homestead's a
Yeah,
very interesting track. You can find if you can find out how to make it work for you, you can win a championship. And that's what happened for both David and Colin.
that
Absolutely.
was another.
Which? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say that was another thing too. Like at Homestead, like the tires like evened out like after like halfway through the run. Also, that was also his advantage too because he pitted about 5-10 laps earlier than what we did, and that's what got him that big lead because if you pit, you're like running a second half 2 seconds faster than the guys that have old tires. So that's what got him out to like a 10-second lead over me, and then I can only get it down to like one and a half, 2 seconds, and then just stabilize right there. So yeah, that's one key thing about also the Xfinity cars too is like yes, like the tire, you have to manage your tires well, but if you burn them off, you're fading really bad. So yeah, that was another thing that David did well also.
All right, Peyton, here's a question for you. So you have won a championship at one of the tracks at Phoenix. You lost the championship, but dominated the race at the other track of Homestead. Which track is your favorite for the championship race between those two? Obviously, those are the two tracks that NASCAR in recent years has held their championship.
Keep in mind, both in Cup, that I did win 3 in a row and we went back and forth. So I have won one championship at Homestead. But picking a favorite between those two, that one's tough because Phoenix is a very they're both driver tracks. You gotta have you can have a very interesting style to both because everybody runs those two tracks completely different. And while Phoenix, I think it's a little bit more straightforward on how you're supposed to run it. Homestead's a little more tire savvy, but you have opportunities to pass. If I had to pick, ironically, even though I have lost more at Homestead than Phoenix, I think I'd pick Homestead just because I think it has really good racing all around, whereas Phoenix at times feels like it's hard to pass. With it being kind of it's not a short track obviously, but it's kind of a smaller, intermediate track. Times it can be kind of difficult, so I'm gonna go with Homestead.
Okay. Tuck, what's your pick for your favorite championship track?
Between the two, I would say, well, I've lost both to David. So whichever one I was closest to him. So probably Phoenix, but no, both are technically different. I mean, Phoenix, it's hard to pass. Homestead, it's hard to pass if you're on equal tires too, because you have to do either one a slide job or two get somebody loose and get underneath them, and that way you pass. But kind of interesting though. I would probably say Homestead's my more favorite just because it's a mile and a half and it's you have the two grooves too. You have multiple lanes to be able to run. But with the championship this year at Kansas, I think it's going to play more favoritism for the trucks too of being close finishes. So whoever makes the championship 4 at Kansas this year, it might be a heck of a race, because that's also why it's the championship race this year, is because of how great it was last year in both Xfinity and in the truck or Cup.
Absolutely. And you led us into our next topic here, and that is going to be the preview of Season 7, which gets kicked off this Sunday at the High Banks of Daytona. But before this season started, well, we got a lot of big news. We mentioned at the start of Season 6, the big news from this guy was, well, I'm stepping out of that league owner role. To start Season 7, he made another announcement. So Nick obviously has a flair for the dramas, but Nick has stepped up, and his new paint scheme designing company, True Designs, will now be the title sponsor of the NEXXTCAR Racing League. So welcome aboard, True Designs. Hopefully this is the start of a healthy and long friendship and sponsorship. So welcome aboard, and tell you what, Nick sure knows how to make those paint schemes look good, because let's be honest, if you look good, you race good.
Hey, amen to that. You gotta look good, feel good, play good, or in this case, race good, right? So
You got that straight out of NCAA 24.
hey, you already know. But yeah, it's awesome. I mean, it's like a win-win situation. I mean, not only do we get a sponsor out of it, but Nick's back. So really happy to see Nick back in a big way. Really excited to see what paint schemes he's going to cook up this season. I already saw some he's posted, looking really good. I'm excited to see what kind of paints we end up seeing on the track this Sunday.
Yeah, absolutely. And not only is this a big week for NEXXTCAR starting Season 7, not only is it a big week for True Design starting their sponsorship with the league tuck, but also it's going to be a big week for whoever wins the truck and cups races, because Nick mentioned today, whoever wins the truck and cup race, they're getting a free paint scheme.
Yeah, I mean, that's just great. I mean, promotion. I mean, that's just a stand-up guy Nick is. Like, it really gives that guys extra like an incentive to be able to go out there and show what they got. I mean, Nick does a great job with the schemes. I mean, I personally haven't had one made by him yet, but looking forward to maybe asking one later. But yeah, I mean, just having him be able to do that, I mean, not only does that help us with the broadcast also coming back and for you to something to talk about, that also helps him getting promoted also as well. So, and also if whoever wins obviously runs up front. So, I mean, it's going to be showing off his logo also. So, thanks for him to stepping up and doing the sponsorship, and then also him doing this thing for the first straight week at Daytona.
Absolutely. And speaking of our new sponsor, let's hear a word from our new sponsor, True Designs. Tired of scrolling for what seems like an eternity looking for that perfect paint scheme to race? Tired of finding the right scheme just to see other people running the same scheme as yours in your race? Then look no further than True Designs. True Designs is an all-new up-and-coming custom scheme designer that is dedicated to delivering you the perfect custom scheme of your dreams without breaking the bank. True Designs is dedicated to bringing your dream paint scheme to life and to victory lane. Starting this season, True Designs has signed a new sponsorship with the NEXXTCAR Racing League. Join the True Designs community for just $30 a scheme or 3 for $60. True Designs, redefining design one masterpiece at a time. All right, welcome back here to the NEXXTCAR Podcast, and let's kick it right back up where we left off. Peyton, earlier, you kind of alluded to this a little bit, but hey, the Truck Series is back for Season 7. The Xfinity Series got kicked to the curb this season, but hey, the trucks are back, baby.
Let's go trucking, baby. Yeah, trucks are back. That's really exciting. I mean, that's like, been the foundation of NEXXTCAR. That's been the cornerstone series for all the way back to the Heat days. So really excited to see trucks back. I'm sure it'll be a little beating and banging, especially like we just talked about with some paint schemes on the line, some bragging rights for a Daytona win. Whew, Sunday night's going to be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, we had a good run with Xfinity last year, but like what Peyton said, like even back when you were just did your broadcast on Heat, like trucks was also the main thing. Like it wasn't just Cup on Monday nights. It was everyone wanted to run good for you on your broadcast and also watch themselves race again. So I know iRacing has modified the trucks a little bit. That way they're a little bit more, they race like they do in real life and not just stick to the ground. So they won't be quite as forgiving as what Xfinity was, but you're still going to be close racing, and that's what everyone wants with racing too, is close knit and close finishes.
You know, it's funny you brought up the back on NASCAR heat. Man, I still don't know how we did that booth broadcast. That was the hardest thing I think I've ever done in my life. Out of everything I've ever done in life, I would say calling that was probably the hardest. You didn't know what lap you were on.
Gordon's Atlanta win.
Yeah. How did he win? Had no idea who was leading. Had no running board, no scoreboard. Like, that was the hardest thing I've ever done in life. But hey, somehow we made it work for a couple of seasons. Thank God we came to iRacing.
Yeah,
but
really good choice on that.
Yeah. But I'm looking forward to this season in from the booth prospect. Obviously, I made the announcement earlier that Michael Lamphere is stepping out of the trucks and coming to the booth with me. So I'm looking forward to that. On iRacing, I've never had a secondary co-host, co-broadcaster. So that'll be interesting. I think it'll be good. I think Michael will bring a lot to the league as in that aspect. He brought a lot to the track, and I'm looking forward to what he can do up there in the booth. And then obviously on Monday nights, just like I do, he'll be back out on the track. But yeah, the trucks coming back, like you said, a lot of upgrades have been made to the trucks to make them more realistic. You mentioned earlier, the truck is more of a driver's friend. Do you see that changing with these upgrades? I haven't ran them yet, so I'm relying on you two to help me in that topic.
Don't look at me on this one. I ain't ran it either. So come on, Tuck.
I mean, do they stick to the ground? Yes. Are they as bad as what they were when we left a year ago? No. They're more. So, like, for example, like we would always say that Las Vegas was a super speedway style race. You won't see that now. Like, you'll have it like for about 5 laps, but then everybody spreads out. So it's not going to be close racing at like a mile and a half tracks like the whole time. It's you're going to have it, and then once either A, tires wear out, or B, something happens with the truck, like it's going to get spread out, and then you're still going to have guys that know how to save their stuff and then manage their stuff. They're going to be the ones at the front at the end.
And you know what that all sounds like? Sounds like a great season in the making. But then let's move on to the next thing that we got to talk about for Season 7. And, you can sit here and say, oh, the league management makes the league run. The booth broadcast helps the league. Well, without the league drivers, none of that exists. And we have got ourselves quite a few good numbers for this season coming up. Veterans returning to NEXXTCAR, 17. We're adding 13 new rookies. 13 people are going to be running for that Rookie of the Year for NEXXTCAR next season. That is a good number. And then returning people. These are people that have been in NEXXTCAR seasons prior, took a season or two off, and then decided to come back is 5. So, Peyton, our numbers across the board and veterans coming back from last season to this season, to the rookies with the yellow stripe on their bumper, to returning people coming back, we're looking pretty good this season.
Yeah, it's really exciting because we got some guys I'm extremely excited to see what they got. After taking some time off, come back, see what they got for us. And also these rookies, like who's going to be that next rookie that comes in and takes the league by storm? We're going to figure out probably pretty quickly. So always look forward to competition. 30 guys, that's a pretty good dang field. So everybody's hungry. Everybody knows the NEXXTCAR how hard it is to win one of these. When you get a field like that, new guys want to get on that winners list, and of course old dudes want to keep going where they left off. So it's going to be interesting, and I can't wait to see how it all unfolds.
I'm looking forward to, like you mentioned, who's that rookie going to be that steps up? Well, what I'm looking forward to, and it happens in every sport really, Tuck, but who's that rookie that comes in and absolutely lights a fire under one of these veterans' asses? Because, no hate on the rookies, but no veteran that's been here for seasons wants a rookie to come in and just show them the way.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I mean, we all know that's another thing too. We know how people race around each other. Like, I know how Peyton races, and he knows how I race. I mean, he probably has a say in that, but whatever. But anyway, so you're not going to know how to race somebody with these new guys coming in too. So it's just going to be a learning curve. Like, if they're obviously, I feel like most of these guys can be quick. Like, we haven't got a chance to race with them yet. So, but I mean, if they're not on iRacing, I mean, obviously they got to be practicing and doing stuff. So, yeah, I feel excited to get this going, and then excited to see what all the new guys got too. So, it's gonna be just a mix of guys up front and just a learning curve too. So, just excited to finally get this going, and yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And you mentioned let's get it going. Well, it all starts this Sunday in the Truck Series at the High Banks of Daytona. Peyton, I'm going to come to you to this one, buddy. The last time we were at Daytona, well, we know how that went down. Last time I was at Daytona, we all know how that went down between me, you, and Andrew Bolander, or Cat, as we all know him. How do you look forward to in the Cup Series going back there to kind of redeem that race?
Right. Yeah. I always take pride as myself in a super speedway racer, but an NEXXTCAR, man, it always feels like I'm either checkers or wreckers. I'm always there at the end, but either I'm winning the race or I'm on the back of a truck, and that's what happened last time. So, I mean, hey, we'll see how it goes. I think there's a lot of interesting stuff when you enter that Daytona race on how it's going to play out. You have the new guys trying to adjust all the old guys, get their feet wet in the league. You also, we haven't really talked about it yet, we don't have teams this season. So normal seasons past, we will have guys have their teams and they'll work together. How are the drivers going to make almost like alliances with their drivers to try to get friends? Because if you don't have friends at these super speedway races, you usually have problems. So I'll be very interested to see if there's any chatter, coming up to the race, if there's going to be people kind of branch off into groups. How's it all going to play out? It's going to be interesting to find out.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, obviously, NASCAR is a very team-oriented career. You got to have your teammates, because if you don't have teammates, well, you see one-car teams normally don't survive in NASCAR, and NEXXTCAR is no different. The past 6 seasons, like you said, we've had teams. We had the 6 teams that we had in years prior, but this season, well, the teams are out the door. So it's basically find an ally, find whoever you want, build your own team, do whatever. Obviously that's going to make a big difference, because you don't know. You're going to have maybe someone was on a team with someone they didn't like, but this year they're able to go out there and basically build their team as how they want it, instead of the 5-6 admins having a draft tuck.
Yeah, and like this way, it also gives guys, like, if they're working at Daytona or Talladega, like, they're not forced to work with somebody, like, or be able to force to be in a chat. Like, yes, teams are fun. Like it's always fun to like do the draft and like have like a draft day with guys hearing their names called like by you. So we're just trying to do something different, and I think this way, with like no teams and everyone just running for themselves, it'll make it more competitive. One, and like I said, not feel like you're forced to work with somebody. Like, that way you can build relationships with other guys and also race against them too.
Yeah, that's something I'm going to miss without the teams, is the draft day. That was a lot of fun, because
Nick picking a guy that didn't even exist. That was the highlight of the whole thing.
Twice.
Yeah.
Santa Claus was a goated pick. Let's get real.
But yeah, I'm gonna miss that, and that's something we're gonna do on this podcast. We're gonna talk about it here in a little bit in the next segment. But that's something we're gonna try to do with this podcast, is during draft day, you get to see all the drivers' names. You get to, you can put 2 and 2 together with them. But obviously, this season without the teams, you're gonna be like, who the hell's that guy? I've never seen that name before. And that's something the draft kind of helped with, was, all right, I know this guy, I heard that name before, but obviously now you don't have that. But, we'll talk about the podcast advancements later, but yeah, it's going to be interesting. And you don't know who you're going to end up working with.
just including everybody. Like that's what one thing like makes us so great is like we try to include a lot of people. Like that's what one thing like we always try to make this a family thing. Like you don't want to make you not feel not wanted. Like we want people to be here. We want people to have fun, and like that's one thing we kind of got away from that we're trying to get back. Just trying to have fun together. Like we'll be competitive. Like that's one thing that we all have is the drive to win. Like if we didn't do this, like if we didn't want to win, we shouldn't be doing it. So, but still, like you said, just having that camaraderie, that family aspect, and just getting it started.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, NEXXTCAR has always been built around the family atmosphere, so hoping that the new guys will come in here and kind of embrace that. Yeah, it's exciting because I mean, I kind of feel like this season we got a great opportunity to kind of get really back into that. I think I think teams kind of hurt that a little bit. So now the teams are gone, I feel like that's going to kind of help situations like that. And yeah, I mean, I think it'll be pretty nice to maybe be in a chat with Tuck for once and not be upset at us.
You'll still be upset at me. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, yeah, probably.
I could just say one word and you say "screw you, Tuck." So.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, that's not right.
Yeah,
friends off the track, heated rivals on. So yeah.
Yeah, that's why I get credited as I'm Joey Logano, I guess. Whatever. So,
but speaking about on the tracks, let's talk about the tracks. We haven't talked about the schedule yet for either series. Basically, both series are the same. I don't think there's really any differences, Tuck. But looking at the tracks now, what track in which week kind of sticks out to you?
Well, just we're kind of doing something different though, because I don't know, we haven't talked about it, but we've always had one stage like in our races. So I think the big thing that sticks out to me is the 4 crown jewel races that we're doing with Daytona, Charlotte, Indy, and Darlington, because those will be 2 stages. So it'll have more strategy, more points too for guys to earn. So and those are a little bit longer too to reflect that like crown jewel, like to have like that popular win. So those are the 4 tracks that I'm looking forward to. I mean, Indy, like that's my home track, and that's one that I know I'm going to be fairly decent at. But that's one for the regular season. But the one for the playoff, that round of 8 with Bristol and Homestead, those might be the best 1-2 combo I think you could put on iRacing, with one being a short track, and then one being probably the best 1.5 miles on the game. So. Yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to. There's a lot of other great stuff we put together. A lot of new tracks, old tracks too, returning, and then just gonna make up for a not a lot of parity, so to speak, but just like different opportunities for guys to win at that they might not have a chance to in another series. So.
Peyton, how do you feel about the schedule? Which track in the regular season and which track in the playoffs really sticks out to you?
Yeah, I'm just taking a glance at the schedule. I just realized y'all nerfed me taking Pocono off. Heck up. Anyways, non-selfishly, looking at the regular season, I would honestly say, as always, that championship weekend, the tracks that David and Colin picked this year end up being Rockingham for the trucks and then Myrtle Beach for the Cup Series. I think that week's gonna be really interesting. It's the only week in the entire season where the 2 tracks are not the same for both series, and it's gonna be interesting having those trucks out in Rockingham and then taking down the next gen down to Myrtle Beach. Very interesting. Um, playoff wise, like the obvious answer would be like Kansas being a new championship race, and that's already talked about Bristol and Homestead being a great duo. But the race that really catches my eye on this playoff grid is the very first one, and that's Texas. That is the track that's making its debut in NEXXTCAR. We've never ran Texas, and I'm extremely interested to see how that goes because that's going to set the tone for the playoffs. That's the first race. It's time to go. Game time. How is everybody going to come and compete at a track we've never ran at? Who knows? So that one really catches my eye because that's going to go a long way in crowning the championship is how you race at Texas.
I agree with you with sticking on the Cup Series schedule with Myrtle Beach. That's making its debut in NEXXTCAR as well. I don't think in the history of NASCAR the Cup cars have ever been.
It has there. 1950s. It's been they've raced there. I think Lee Petty won there. That's our rule. There has to be a NASCAR race there in the series.
All right, so I take that back. In 1950, 60 years before I was born. Actually, no, 46. But anyway.
Oh, yeah.
But anyway.
Yeah, so they've raced there.
So, yeah, I think that sticks out. And then, you definitely hit the nail on the head with Texas, Peyton. But I'm looking at that entire first round. Texas. Then followed with Atlanta. We all know how Atlanta's been rebuilt into a mini super speedway. And then the very next week, Auto Club to close out the first round. You've got Texas making its debut, a mini super speedway, and then Auto Club. 2 draft-heavy tracks for round 1. And really, you can honestly throw Texas in there as kind of draft-heavy as well. It's not as bad as Auto Club, but it's got the draft effect in there. But that entire first round, that'll obviously shape up the rest of the playoffs. Like you said, Texas, who the hell knows what's going to happen at Texas? I don't think I've ever touched that track in iRacing in my life. Kind of starting the playoffs off with who knows what's going to happen. And that sets the entire tone for the playoffs, like you said.
Yeah. Definitely a wild card round, and if you somehow survive it, you get a trip down to the Coliseum at Bristol. So a bit of a wild playoff for sure. So it could be very interesting come March and April.
Hey, but winning in advance, like that's one thing we kind of kept. I know we haven't really talked about like the way the standings will or way the playoffs will be structured. I mean,
that'll be next segment.
Yeah, I mean we'll hit on that, but yeah, I mean, if you win in Atlanta, you're locked into the next round. You don't have to worry about Auto Club. You win at Texas, you don't have to worry about Atlanta running good. So, yeah, I mean, just when we configure the schedule, that's one thing that we were looking into. Just trying to give guys different opportunities. That way, they feel like they have a chance to win at. So I know some guys might think, oh, I don't have a chance to win at Texas, but they see Atlanta on the schedule next, like, well, I got a shot there to win, then go down to, let's say, if they think Michigan's their next best track, like, oh, we win at Atlanta, we got a chance at Michigan. So there's paths for guys to make that championship for if they haven't ran good, and that's also what makes the playoffs so different than what like stick and the ball sports are. That it's every man for himself. Then
all I know is I see 16 races on this Next Gen Cup Series schedule. I'm 2-0 in farewell races. I think I'm going to have 16 farewell races this season.
If you get deployed 16 times, it'd be like,
No. Whatever. I'm not talking about deploying. I'm just, each week I'm going to make the announcement. All right, folks, this is my farewell race.
Well, yeah, but so we got to have Daytona and Talladega each week then, because those were the 2 tracks, weren't they?
No, Atlanta.
What was the other one?
Atlanta.
Oh, whatever. All right. So, yeah. So, what I'm saying is you got to either one leave after Daytona or one race the whole season and then leave after Atlanta.
Nope. I'm racing all 16 races, but each week I'm going to make a post in the Discord. This is my farewell race, folks.
Oh, my gosh. You just script it out, too, like write a 10-minute speech like Abe Lincoln's 4-7 years ago. So like,
God.
Hey, those were fun. Those were good old days, though.
Yeah. You were going to say something?
Nah, I just, good Lord, y'all are funny.
Hey, this is what makes us great. Like, we're just back and talking. Who cares?
Mm-hmm. But all right, let's move on to our next segment here, and that is the new rules and changes for NEXXTCAR. Tuck, you alluded to it. Different way of running the season here for points. Why don't you hit us off here?
Yeah, so originally we've had different structures for playoffs where we would have 16 guys, and then either you would win a race and then move on, or be the next guys in points. We've dwindled that down to 12 for one, so top 12 guys make the playoffs, but if you win a race, you're not locked in. So it's just going to be straight up top 12 guys in points. We don't have to worry about no rules for having to do race a certain amount of races. Don't have to worry about waivers or anything like that. If they've won a race and didn't meet eligibility, It's just going to be whoever has the most points, 12 races. And then I think we're also adding a couple. You can use 1 to 2 last place points in the regular season too. So that way, guys, if they have something happen, because life happens, like stuff happens, so that way they don't take a beating, and then like that they get somewhat rewarded. So yeah, top 12 in points make the playoffs, and then once we get to the playoffs, then it's back to normal. Win a race, advance to the next round, and then win a race, move to the next round, and then also it's going to be 12-8-4. So in the same 3-2-1 schedule too. So looking forward to it. Should take a little bit of the drama out of it. Don't have to worry about, like I said, waivers or anything, and just whoever's gets the most points. It's going to be that mix. It's going to be a mix of Winston Cup points and modern day NASCAR. So trying to get the best of both worlds for everybody, and looking forward to it.
Yeah, which I like, honestly. You got your regular season. You can't, excuse me, you can't win a race or two and then be like, all right, well, I don't like this race. I'm not racing.
Right.
You have to you have to rely on your points to get in. There's no more, like you said, win and in situation. And I think that's going to help our numbers as the season goes on because, you had that where people were meeting that 7 race quota to be eligible for the playoffs in prior seasons. Well, they don't have that anymore, So that'll help, I think, sustain our numbers as the season progresses. And then, like you said, and then in the playoffs, welcome to the modern day of you win that round, you move on to the next one, which kind of could flip-flop your playoffs like we see in real life. Just like real life in the final round, all 3 drivers who won were below that cutoff line and advanced to the championship round. So, obviously that we've seen it in the past in NEXXTCAR. We're probably going to see it in the future in NEXXTCAR where that becomes your playoff contenders as the season progresses in the playoffs. So I kind of like the mixture of, like you said, the old style and the new style. And like you said, best of both worlds there.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, now you're rewarding consistency in the regular season, and then you're going to reward pretty much aggressiveness and trying to get those wins in the playoffs. So you get the old school racing in the regular season, then you get the new school racing in the playoffs. Well, just like in real life, I still wish our playoff was a little more not one race winner take all, maybe have something a little different. I do like this format as in we know like the people who make the playoffs were the most deserving. They were the top 12. They earned the right into the playoff. We don't have to worry about somebody just, winning Daytona, then finishing 20th every week and being in. We're going to have the 12 best overall drivers for that season in the playoffs, and then it'll be all hands on deck after that.
Yeah, I can 100% agree with you on that one, Peyton. I would like to see maybe next season, maybe not, but I would love to see a former chase for the cup style playoffs. All right, cool. We've got our field of 12 or 10 or however we end up deciding, whatever. All right, cool. There's your handful of drivers. Go at it for the next 6 weeks. I think, let's take it 3 races at a time, then 2 races, then, all right, go out there. Yeah. I'd love to see a chase for the cup style come back as well.
I think the only thing that's hard about that is the fact, like we talked about earlier, at the end of the day, this is all a hobby for us and life happens. It'd be really frustrating. You work your butt off for 10 weeks, make the playoffs, and then something happens and you miss a race in the playoffs. And even like a last place points in that scenario, like you're still going to be pretty much probably out of it. Like you're in trouble. So it's going to be a hard thing to balance. I don't know if like the correct answer on that, how you can kind of balance both, that part of iRacing and then, what we're talking about. But I would like something like that, maybe a shorter thing. Maybe it's a, 3 race round or something. I don't know. But I think that's the only issue with that kind of playoff scheme.
I can agree with that. Tuck, how do you feel about possibly the future of NEXXTCAR heading down that road?
I mean, yeah, it looks good on paper, but what Peyton said too, like stuff happens, and let's say, like if someone has something emergency or something go on, then they're not gonna have that opportunity. But But we could tweak. You could tweak stuff and do extra points or whatever, and then that way make it fair. But yeah, I mean, it looks good on paper too. But I would still stick with what we got right now.
Let's talk about some of the other changes and updates or upgrades, whatever you want to call it, for NEXXTCAR that is coming. In the past, the biggest thing that I would say we are probably adding to NEXXTCAR is, in the past, great, we've had rookies before. This season rather, we've got 13. We've got to do something for these guys. And that is going to start this season where we're actually going to be giving out an award for the Rookie of the Year. It's not going to be a 3-foot-tall trophy like the champion gets, but, we're going to be doing something this season to highlight that rookie, because God knows we got a lot of them that went above and beyond the rest. And the way that that's going to go is we're going to keep it nice and simple. Whoever had the highest points out of the rookies more likely is going to be your Rookie of the Year, just keeping it nice and simple. Like you said, we all got lives. We can't sit here for 30 days a month and just focus on this, but yeah. So
What do you mean? We do that anyway.
Yeah, you're not wrong, but that's because other people make us do it.
That's fair.
We don't do this. We don't do that voluntarily, but excuse me. But yeah, something to showcase that rookie that went above and beyond, and maybe he wins the championship. Maybe not.
I don't think it'd be the first time. I don't believe so. Who knows?
Yeah, Matt Harrison won the championship.
Mm-hmm.
He was.
Okay. The first
another championship lost by Peyton.
Oh, come on, Jesus.
By one lap.
That's why I brought it up. Oh my gosh. Going back to that first race too, that was the craziest thing that's ever happened in NEXXTCAR. If we go back and watch that entire broadcast, we need to go back and watch the whole thing.
I don't know if I could ever.
That and Talladega, season 2, race 1.
No, we definitely ain't watching that.
We lost the sun. I forgot all about that. Oh god,
we have
good times.
Completely lost the track.
Yeah,
most iconic quote in NEXXTCAR history.
Hey, it's what I do,
Yeah.
But yeah, so it'd be nice to do something for the rookies, because obviously they dedicate their time to NEXXTCAR, so it's about time we do something for them.
Yeah, that's exciting. And I bet you money that's going to be a fantastic battle. Like we talked about, who's going to be that next guy to, next rookie to come in here and make a name for himself. I have a good feeling that there's going to be quite a few that are going to have a lot of speed that are in the league. So while we have, our own little playoffs going on and whatever, it'll be interesting to see that Rookie of the Year standings and how that folds out.
Yeah, absolutely. So going off of what we were just talking about, highlighting people this season in the future to help with some stuff. But, Peyton, you brought up earlier a pretty good thing about why are we highlighting the people in the future? Why not the people of the past? So why don't you hit us off with some of the people you'd like to talk about?
Yeah, like last season in season 6, we finally got some guys to get to victory lane after a long time. I'm trying to look through the list right now. I know my boy Alberto finally got his win. Long time coming, so shout out to him. Michael Landfear, he's stepping in the booth of you. He got his first win last season. Tyler Banliger got his first win. I mean, the list goes on. There was a lot of new winners. Sean Walton got his first win. A lot of guys with a lot of speed that have been trying so long to get wins. And like we've talked about, it is so hard to win an NEXXTCAR, and they finally got it done. So congrats to all the new winners. I'm sure I missed somebody.
Adam Curtis got his first win.
Adam Curtis got his first one. See, exactly. Like there's a long list. Like usually in NEXXTCAR seasons, we don't get that many first-time winners because it's tough to win. But last season was a bit different. We had a bunch of new-time winners, so the list got way longer. It took a little bit. It definitely took a little bit of time to add everybody on there. But yeah, congrats to all those dudes. That was awesome to see.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I was glad I was here for Alberto's win. He's brought a lot to not only NEXXTCAR, but the American Defenders racing team back when we were doing teams. He's been a longtime member of NEXXTCAR, and that first win was a long time coming. He's been so close. He was there in that Daytona race, but made his move a little too early from the outside line to the inside, and that inside line just fell apart. But he's been there. He's got a couple runner-up finishes, but to finally see him get that checkered flag, I felt like I won the damn race. You know, I was that happy for him. And, you know, you were too when I got my first win. You were absolutely ecstatic. And now I felt that with Alberto, which was awesome to see because, you know, like I said, he brought so much to, the league. And, you know, you mentioned it, Lanfear, he got his first win. Adam Curtis, Sean, getting that win is definitely no easy task in NEXXTCAR.
Yeah, and to give a little bit more of a shout out to Alberto, like you said, you know, the ADR relationship. I mean, man, it was just me and Alberto, like so many races in the chat, like it was just me and him. I spent a lot of time with Alberto, talking to him, working with him at these tracks. He's been close so many times. He is in a lot of victory lane pictures with me, being a great teammate through and through. So it was awesome to finally get him a checkered flag. He went out there and won it. Let me not say he got him. He went out there and claimed one and get to celebrate with him in victory lane was awesome. So super congrats to Alberto. Very long time coming, and a long time coming for a lot of these other drivers as well. I know, like you said, it's a hard way to win this league. I mean, sometimes you gotta be lucky, and sometimes you just gotta go take it. That's what all these dudes did. I think all these wins were just guys going out and getting it. So, congrats to all of them.
Anything else on NEXXTCAR?
The only word of advice I can give new drivers just be really careful around that Matt Tucker guy. Sorry.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, if they've watched
if you'd say my name right, they might know who I am.
Sorry.
That's why I'm gonna have a meet the Tuck.
I get nightmares thinking about you because that's the easiest way to have your Daytona dreams come to a crashing end really early is being around your truck. So
all I know is if they have ever watched the Dale Tanhart TikTok live streams, they know exactly who Matt Tucker is between me commenting on it to watch out for him.
You need to ask Cam what happened at Talladega in Xfinity cars last year.
God.
Cam was going to get his no, that was at Daytona. I was pushing Cam to his first win. And I moved him.
He messed it up. I was inside of Cam on the white flag, and I was literally racing for the win, and I was more so cheering for Cam. Like I'm not going to lift because you're better than me, but I was praying Tuck was going to push him to the win. It's going to be awesome, and then Tuck shoved him out of the way and won the race.
I was getting shoved from behind too. I couldn't do anything, and I felt bad.
Yeah. Justice for Cam, man. That's another driver that's been long overdue. Mm-hmm. Get Cam a win this year.
I tried.
Did you though?
All right, Cam. I did.
Because I'm hearing you didn't.
I did, and then what happened after? I tried to side draft Peyton.
It door slammed me down the infield. Like it was a fantastic, bam play by Tuck as always. Can never win a race clean. No, it has to be contact.
Oh God!
But yet I raced David Chandler cautiously in championship races and lose.
Make it make sense.
It's amazing. Yeah, it's amazing.
Right? I gotta even it out. Yeah, I gotta even it out.
You don't run over somebody, you can't win. Like that's crazy how that works. Wow.
I had the least amount of incident points.
We don't care.
And I'm still getting shit on.
We don't care.
We don't care. Jesus.
Incident points don't win you championships.
This, I am now number one in total wins. So, Peyton.
Oh, my God. Yeah, yet again, because you either wreck somebody to win or you get the most lucky crap that ever happened. How many races have you won when you're on the last lap and you're like outside the top 7?
When we talk about you gotta put yourself in position to win. So, I do? I put myself in position to win.
Lap, it's not being positioned to win. But,
Should have saved gas more.
Yeah, whatever. I'm still salty about that storm drain you claims at Charlotte.
Yeah, it came out and bit me.
Yeah, I bet it did.
And then guess what? We bit each other. It's like what happened at Watkins Glen in heat days.
Jesus Christ.
Hey, all right, let's talk about something. What's still going to be the track where me and Peyton run into each other?
Daytona.
Well, yeah, Daytona. Like lap 3, I'll be in the fucking infield. I know how this story goes. After Paragon, like, thanks, Titan. Jeez.
All right. Well, that's enough about NEXXTCAR. Let's move on to NASCAR. What a wild 2024 that was. We saw a couple of things come to an end. We saw Martin Truex Jr.'s career come to an end. We saw the win streak of 19 seasons of Kyle Busch getting at least one win come to an end. And at the end of it all, Joey Logano got his 3rd championship. Peyton, start us off with 2024 NASCAR.
Yeah, leave it to the NASCAR version of Matt Tucker to be out of the playoffs 3 days later, figure out, oh wait, actually you're still in, and then decide, you know what, screw it, I'm gonna go win the championship. So yeah, I mean, guy gets a freaking 17th place finish on the season as your champion. So congrats to Joey Logano, I guess. He exposed the system, but that's what they asked for. I mean, you can ride around all year. If you make the playoffs and then turn your game on, congratulations, you're a NASCAR champion. So that's what Joey Logano did. That's what Penske did. I mean, they are ridiculously tough to beat at Phoenix. And the second he won, like Vegas by saving fuel, everybody should have been scared because that gave Joey Logano 3 weeks to sit there and figure out what to do for Phoenix. Came out, won the race. So no surprise.
No, I mean that's the thing that they do well. I mean, who cares about the regular season? I mean, they could run like crap like all 26 weeks and then get a couple wins and then but they know what to do when it comes crunch time. Um 3 years in a row, a Penske car has won a championship. So, um I mean, you can talk about how poorly they run the regular season. I mean, I don't care. They're going to show up in the end. I mean, I wish it was Blaney that had won the championship. I know you do too, but like that's why Logano's a future Hall of Famer too, because he knows how to win. All even though he shouldn't have even been in the round of 8 to the round of 4, but things happen. So I mean, I guess congrats to him, and yeah, he locked up his probably unanimous first ballot Hall of Fame too.
The biggest question, we've talked about that championship race. My biggest question for you two goes a week prior at Martinsville. Did NASCAR make the right decision or the wrong decision with Christopher Bell?
Wrong. We already talked about this.
No,
Not with me.
100%. They 100% made the right decision by rule. They followed the book. They followed the book. I mean, we talked. We came on here and talked for it felt like hours about the Ross Chastain thing. Y'all said it was like it should have been illegal, and that's what NASCAR did. They made it illegal. Christopher Bell dove it in the corner to pass Bubba Wallace. Like, it was a terrible slide job. Nailed the wall. That's fine and all. But then he did the exact what Ross did. He put the pedal to the metal, rolled around the wall, and made sure he finished in front of Bubba. That is exactly what they said they didn't want. They didn't want you to be full throttle in the wall. That's what Christopher Bell did. They made the right call by the letter of the book. You cannot agree with it if you don't want to, because you can argue it didn't affect anything. Probably didn't. If Christopher Bell just doesn't overshoot the corner, he gets by Bubba because Bubba's literally lifting for him. But that's what Seabell did. He choked. End of story.
I would agree with you to a point. I'll agree. He shouldn't have rode the wall. But I will also disagree because of what Dylan and Chastain were doing behind him. To me, those two equal each other out. Bell should have been in. Because
so what you're saying is they should have had Jeff Gordon rolling 5 should have been in, or what are you
saying? No. I'm saying that those the were on the wall and the just Ray Charles could have seen that those guys were blocking for Byron for 20 laps. Those two incidents should have equaled each other out. All right, cool. Bell rode the wall. That's one incident. Then you had Dylan and Chastain blocking for Byron for 20 laps. That's the second incident. Those two incidents should have canceled each other out, in my opinion.
What about Bubba lifting and not purposely letting Bell by?
Did he, though?
See, the difference between those two was that Austin Dillon and Chastain were told. Bubba was really never told. He just
okay. No,
it was literally on his radio. Does the one, or I don't remember whether does the one or does the 3 know what to do?
It was the Austin Dillon team asking about the one team, like they know the deal. But also, Bubba did get told. He was told exactly what Christopher Bell was doing. He was told that Christopher Bell was down a point about the end to go. Now, that's all they told him, yes. But Bubba knew the point situation. And I don't care what you say. In my opinion, yes, you can argue that Ross and Dylan blocked. They definitely did for about 12 laps, no doubt. However, I think there's a big difference of purposely lifting really bad to let someone by than just pushing someone to refuse to pass them. Austin Dillon and Ross Chastain just pushed Byron along and kept chugging, whereas Bubba Wallace literally lifted bigger than crap. Like he literally went like 2 laps down in the span of like 4 laps. Like he was like half throttling it around Martinsville, crying out loud. So I, and not only that, like at the end of the day, it's William Byron versus Christopher Bell. There is absolutely nothing that William Byron did wrong. William Byron did absolutely nothing wrong. He just drove the car in circles. Whereas Christopher Bell was the one that wall rode and everything. That's what I think it should really come down to. Is William Byron didn't do anything wrong. Christopher Bell obviously did something wrong. William Byron said.
But I'll tell you this: if there's no team alliance or anything like that, is William Byron in the championship for? Because obviously all those guys were faster than William Byron, so they would have theoretically passed him. If there wasn't like anything
If there
of
wasn't
that
no
sort,
manufacturer alliance.
right? Was Byron really deserving?
We've
When
seen this
he
crap before, though. Do you not remember?
right,
Like this exact crap happened in Martinsville before. Eric Jones like blocked the whole damn field for Denny Hamlin that one year. I mean, they literally came over the
right,
radio and said, "Don't pass him, Jones," and he sat there blocking like multiple lanes behind Denny
yeah,
Hamlin that
and that's
year,
what I'm saying. Are they more?
which
Are they
is
deserving then?
I mean, look, okay, this has been a problem for NASCAR for years now. We see it in this
Yeah,
playoff format. The one great thing that happens in this play format is you get all these action-packed moments and everything. The problem with this format is it opens up this can of worms where if you're making it an elimination thing, and you, as like we talk about different other sports, the eliminated cars are still in it. Like they're still on that dang track. They very much have a say on what happens. That's going to happen. So unless you have a system where you go back to like a regular chase, like that's probably not going to happen as much. Whereas an elimination thing, you can continue seeing stuff like this. Because I mean, what stops a driver if let's say I'm ironically Ross Chastain. Let's say Ross Chastain round of 12 is already out of the playoffs, and his teammate Daniel Suarez is the first guy out. What stops Ross Chastain from just tolling the guy on the cutoff race that's in? Bam! Congratulations, Daniel Suarez. You're in the next round because you got totaled. Like NASCAR is such a most easy sport for drivers to manipulate what happens. Would you wish the drivers would stay, kind of loyal, respect the sport? Absolutely. But is it going to happen? Obviously not, because we continue seeing this stuff happen in Martinsville year after year.
So here's my big question: who do you blame more with the Christopher Bell scenario? Do you blame Christopher Bell, or do you kind of blame his spotter more? Because that move that Bell did wasn't necessary. He was going to pass Bubba, which would have gave him the spot, and he had no one behind him that he was racing for position. So do you blame Bell more for doing that move, or do you blame his spotter for not being like, all right, Christopher, there's nobody behind you that you're battling. Just pass Bubba and you're good. You know?
I don't blame Bell at all because I mean he's just acting out of instincts. I mean it's last lap and he's just doing whatever. I blame NASCAR and the freaking like manufacturer alliances, and that's what causes all this like crap is them helping each other. That way, that at least they have at least one Chevy, Ford, Toyota in the championship four. That's why you have all this stuff. It's not the four fastest guys that are in. It's whoever plays the game right, and that's what you have with these format now compared to. I don't know how we really got to it. I mean, really the thing what Peyton hit on was when it all started is when Jones blocked for Hamlin. I think that's when this new age of NASCAR started. It's not the best guys; it's whoever played the cards right. So
I
yeah,
think
to answer your question though, I'm not blaming Bell. I'm not blaming anybody. It's just what happened.
So you're saying
honestly,
it's the world that NASCAR has made.
Right? Yeah. Yeah.
honestly, I think the easiest fix of all this, like the most simple thing NASCAR could do to fix this whole situation that happens in Martinsville of all this crap. It's just, I mean, I get why Martinsville's the call off the championship race. It makes sense. Short track, beating and banging, let's go at it. But just make the cutoff race something with some space because, I mean, if you go to a track with multiple lanes, like these guys aren't just gonna be able to block these quicker guys and do all this stupid crap. Like they're just gonna be screwed. Like they're just gonna naturally fall through the field. It will be way less manipulation. Is it gonna happen still? Probably, but it'll be like not anywhere near as bad as Martinsville. So, I mean, you're not gonna see a guy be able. If you're at a normal size track, you're not gonna be able to lift to let guys by you because you're going to be a whole lap ahead of them if they're freaking, lap down or whatever. You're just not going to see what you saw at Martinsville. It's just not going to happen. So I do agree with Tuck, though. This is the world NASCAR made with this system. Um, is there an easy fix? Like I said, I don't really know. You can try stuff. I don't think it was a great idea putting Talladega in this freaking round this year. That's ridiculous.
No,
That's a
should have
different
been
topic.
staying around prior.
Yeah, I don't
Austin
understand
Cindric's
why.
got national championship for it next year.
Yeah. I mean, I have no idea why we put a super speedway in the round that decides our champion this year. That's kind of crazy. Like that's just asking for a Mickey Mouse champion, in my opinion. But oh well. Um, but anyways, I mean that's the format we got. So I know NASCAR's talking about possibly changing the format. I'd love to see their ideas. I've seen, people's concepts going around. I don't know if y'all seen them. There's a lot of good ones. So I would love to see what NASCAR could cook up for us. But for now, this is what we got. And I don't really see this changing too much unless NASCAR does something.
All I know is after Ryan let the win at Homestead get away the week before, it was dang good to see him win at Martinsville. Yeah, that kind of got the salt out of the wounds, because that was a hell of a drive by him at Martinsville. I don't know if you guys feel the same, but that was a championship-esque drive. Obviously, it didn't pay off at Phoenix, but that was just it was a damn good drive by him.
It was a heck of a drive, but he really needed it after our Homestead. I cannot believe like the track that is most notorious for running inches behind, like from the wall, is the quickest lane, and you have a driver that is one of the best of doing that behind you on the last lap,
And you give it to him.
and you have it no problem,
Dude.
clean air, like
That's
that
my
was
ice cream
crazy.
cone. Let him have it. You can have it.
I don't know what Ryan and his spotter were doing, but if I'm the spotter, I'm yelling. If he beats you on the bottom, congrats, Tyler Reddick, you did it.
Right.
Do not let Tyler Reddick beat you on the top.
No.
That was crazy, and Ryan Blaney's extremely lucky it didn't cost him a shot at the championship.
That's enough about Cup Series for right now. How about the Xfinity? Justin Allgaier, man, after 14 years, finally gets that coveted trophy. I mean, you talk about NEXXTCAR drivers finally getting it done and long time coming. That was a long time coming for Allgaier in Junior Motorsports.
A bum, a hack. I mean, I'm glad dude's in a top 3 car in the series, and it took 14 damn years to win a championship. I mean, dude, like the Denny Hamlin of that series. So congratulations on finally winning one. Justin Allgaier. I mean, you had to kind of, put some people on the damn wall to get it done, but hey, whatever it takes, I guess,
I mean, he earned it, though. I don't care what you say. With less than 100 laps to go, he was a lap down.
And got lucky. He got that classic NEXXTCAR Under Series. And that dude made like what?
Sometimes luck is better than skill.
They were like clowning this dude mid-race. He had made so many mistakes to take himself out of it. Like, I do not care what you say.
And you know what? They won't talk about those mistakes because guess what? He won the championship. He won the race.
He got lucky.
He still won. No one's going to be talking about the mistakes he made. They'd be talking about how he won.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just simply saying all it shows is that dude. Come on now. Like, there's a reason he didn't make it in Cup.
The only people that remember the mistakes are the haters. And who's hating? That guy.
I'm just the other
saying,
guy. You pointed to the
guy.
Good. Oh.
If he was good, he would be in Cup right now. But he's not. He's just like Junior's little son that Junior loves so dang much. So he just continues putting in his great car, and he, reaps the benefits.
Did he ever get an opportunity in Cup, though? I mean,
not a true opportunity.
Look what he did in Larson's car with no practice or anything. He was almost in the top 10 and halfway through the Coke Series or the Coke.
Yet again, I would hope so in one of the best cars in the track. Like, I mean,
but he didn't have experience in the next gen.
He had any experience in the next gen or anything. He just got in the car.
I don't care. Just not. Oh
man!
But I'll be honest. I was cheering and hoping that AJ would do it.
Oh yeah, that's
yeah.
true.
I'm pretty sure everybody was. That or, I mean, Mary will admit it or not, I mean, Cole Custer, of course, for SHR would have been a cool little story
That'd have
for
been
him.
cool.
So
That'd have been a cool
uh,
story for him.
that's what I was hoping. Riley winning was still really cool for SHR. I know it's not the result they wanted, but man, I know who's not happy with that either is Cat. His boy Austin Hill cannot win one of those either. So at this rate, he might join the list on Austin Hill or on uh, Allgaier because both of those, like, he'll get really far. He'll show he's the favorite of that series, and then something will happen, and we'll choke it away. So, I mean, last year he could blame Creve. This year, it just didn't show up. So,
Tuck, I know you're ready to get it going. What is your bold pick for this upcoming NASCAR season that kicks off in
Bold
February?
selection.
Yeah.
Carson Hocevar makes the round of 8.
Round of 8. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Hocevar, he's a good driver, but damn, he did not make any friends at Martinsville. You know,
Yeah,
he doesn't need to be that aggressive. I mean, he had that 77 hooking and booking last season. You know, I don't know what got into his head at Martinsville, but I swear the dude, he must have been driving a damn pace car at Phoenix because that's about the last thing he didn't wreck at Martinsville.
He's got the most raw ability of anyone in the Cup Series. Like, I think he's like literally Kyle Larson at Chip Ganassi. Like, but the one key thing that you're forgetting who his new teammate is at Spire, who's a coach, who's someone who's going to teach him, like, look, you can't be doing this stuff, and that's Michael McDowell. Look what McDowell did for Gilliland. Gilliland wasn't as good. McDowell showed him the ropes, and Gilliland was running top 10 some races at the end. Well, Hocevar did that with Corey LaJoie as his main teammate, and Zane Smith, who was nowhere to be found. So there was really no leader there at Spire. Now you get a leader there that's going to show you the way, and then he's going to manage. He's going to win his first race. I'll say another bold thing: he wins his first race before Ty Gibbs. Ty Gibbs also goes winless in 2020, 25 also.
I don't see that.
So yeah, there.
Tuck's extremely bad at predicting, like, the NASCAR season, so I would not listen to him.
He said bold predictions. All right, fine. Joey Logano wins another championship. There you go.
That would be bold.
Back to back.
That would be bold. I'm just saying, like, you have a historically
Kyle
bad.
Larson wins 5+ races. There. Ty Dillon finishes outside the top 30 in points. There.
That is bold right there. Let me tell you. Probably not. But
Cody Ware doesn't race every single race and it's his girlfriend again. I don't know.
oh, okay. We're trying to keep this podcast PG.
That'll be our breaking news for the third podcast of the season. That's
Hey,
coming up.
it's not a NEXXTCAR podcast without mention of the game.
I mean, he's not wrong.
Yeah, we
He's
got
not wrong.
a point. Yeah.
He's the NEXXTCAR podcast punching bag.
Yeah, he did come back.
Oh, it's his girlfriend.
Last time,
That's not
last
true.
time.
Well,
last time
she's
we did a
his punching
podcast-
bag. He's our punching bag.
That's fair.
That's a good point. Last time we did a podcast, wasn't Cody Ware like in jail or something?
He was still in jail.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's been a long 8 months, man. A lot has happened in 8 months. But Peyton, what's your bold prediction for this upcoming season?
Bold predictions, huh? I really like. I don't know about round of 8. I really do like Tux because, like you were just kind of talking about with Carson Hocevar. I mean, the kid's got a lot of speed. He kind of, you're right, Ronnie. Martinsville, you kind of saw his mentor's teaching come out a little bit. It kind of looks like Ross out there a little bit. But I think that's going to be the problem for Carson this year. I think he'll take that next step. I think he's going to run the exact same problem Ross did. When you finally get up there to those big boys, all that speed, if you continue driving over your head, you're going to start making that contact. They're going to really hate you. And I think Carson Hocevar is going to have that exact learning curve next season. So we'll see how that goes for him. But if I'm going to go bold for me, I don't know how bold this is. Let's do. I want to do one for Cup and one for Xfinity. My Cup one will be that Todd Gilliland really surprises this year. I'm predicting him to get a win and make the playoffs and really kind of lead that what could be open team. We haven't even talked about that, all the drama in NASCAR
Oh
lately.
yeah.
But I think Todd Gilliland has got to sit behind, like Tuck talked about, the mentor, Michael McDowell. He was better than Michael McDowell last season. And you know they were putting more effort into Michael McDowell's stuff. So I'm really excited to see Todd Gilliland, how he does this season. I'm expecting big things. I could even see him winning more than an A race. Depends how that team develops. And they got
Gillen's driving his
no,
car too.
yeah, they got Noah Gragson coming in. I think it's a great signing from them. Noah has speed. I hope this one will stick for him. That man has bad luck on new rides. I mean, now he gets signed by the team that might be losing their charters. Good Lord. Anyways, I mean, they have rumors where Zane Smith might be joining that team as the third car. Like, if that happens, that's a heck of a team. I'm really excited to see what Front Row ends up doing next season. Xfinity, I kind of already alluded to it. I think Carnes Village wins multiple races, at least 3, and makes a deep run in the playoffs. I don't know about winning it all the first year. That might be a little too much, but at least around an 8 appearance for sure. So those are kind of my bold predictions, I guess. I don't know how super bold those are, but hey, there you go. All right.
So I'm going to go with a bold prediction that I'm kind of shocked that you guys didn't kind of allude to or mention, but my bold prediction, honestly, is going to go with Kyle Busch. Not only do I think he's going to get multiple wins this season, I think he's going to make the championship 4. I think that, this season, because his first season with RCR was fantastic. Got 3 wins, I think. Then last season, obviously that 19-year win streak of at least 1 win in a season came to an end. And I kind of expect that to maybe get him back to his old ways a little bit. I don't know if RCR is up to that old Kyle Busch or the 2022 Kyle Busch that we saw. But I think that, 2023. But I think that this could be Kyle Busch's season in return.
I was not making any predictions. Kyle Busch was my 2024 preseason NASCAR pick for the championship. Like, I thought Kyle was going to go off last year, and Cat blames me for jinxing him. So I wanted absolutely nothing to do with saying what Kyle Busch would do this season. I will say, I mean, he almost has to improve, right? Like, you can't really.
Well, there's nowhere to go but up.
I was gonna say, yeah,
right? So,
you ain't going down.
I mean, heck, Austin Dillon won a race, and what do you have to do?
Harrison Burton won the damn race.
Yeah.
He took that win from Kyle Busch.
How does that feel for Kyle Busch? Kyle Busch lost consecutive weeks to make the playoffs to Harrison Burton and Chase Briscoe.
Right, and
then he lost probably his best shot to Suarez.
To Suarez for what?
Atlanta?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not even including that.
Well, I am. It's still a race that he was in the running, literally a foot and a half from winning.
He had a better chance at
Darlington. He had a really good shot.
I was going to say Daytona. If it wasn't for Parker Retzlaff pushing Burton, then yeah. That's one guy that doesn't give a crap about alliances is Parker Retzlaff.
No, none.
I'll go ahead and put it out there. By the way, I think Parker has done absolutely nothing wrong besides that in his NASCAR career.
And now his career's done.
But look at what happened in his career. I really think that had a huge impact. I think that's part of the reason why he lost his ride.
Mm-hmm. I mean, if you're going to push an enemy, your competitor, obviously they're not going to welcome you back. You help your manufacturer.
Yeah, but that was that dude's only. That could have been that dude's only ever Cup race to have a chance at a win. I don't blame him one bit for trying. No,
I don't blame him at all. Absolutely.
No, that's what I hate about this new age and day of NASCAR.
But that's the one part of NASCAR. Like when we go to these super speedways, and then when we're trying to get people to advance in playoffs, that's the one time where that F1 style racing kind of appears in the NASCAR. You'll see stuff like that very commonly. So that's part of it. By the way, to throw out one little quick other bold prediction, don't care if they're open or not unless it just destroys the team. I'm going to go another prediction on these open teams because I think they're going to end up being open. People are going to hate me for it, but I'm going to predict Bubba Wallace wins at least a race and at least makes the round of 12. Probably the round of 8 if I want to get bold. I don't care. Bubba Wallace has improved every season no matter how much you hate him or don't. He has constantly got better. Not by a lot, but bit by bit. Now, I will say...
I think this season was a step back.
He didn't win a race.
Yeah, and he won 2.
But his average
make his way in on points.
Average finish
How's that better?
Up. His average finish went up. Search it up.
average
His
finish
DNFs
doesn't
go
matter
up
if you
too?
don't win.
I get it. Like, so he had a statistically better season, is my point. The thing that did hurt him, though, like in the eyes of people, was the fact that, his teammate did win the regular season championship and went to the Final Four. Yes. But I do think Bubba will continue to improve, and I predict him having a much better season this year.
Now, that is a bold strategy.
At least a winner around 12, at least.
But anything else to talk about on this long extended version of the NEXXTCAR podcast?
Yeah, we went from the NEXXTCAR podcast to NEXXTCAR After Dark. like that.
Ronnie's gonna have to make this a multi-part video. Good
Yeah. You guys,
guys
have my work cut out for me to edit this thing, but
all right.
But hey,
just excited to get back.
Yeah, absolutely, man. NEXXTCAR Podcast is back. NEXXTCAR Racing League is
excited
back,
you're home.
Yeah. Yep, it's good to be back and get things rolling again. But hey,
to wrap it up, gotta be excited, right? NEXXTCAR's back. Ronnie's back. We're back. What an honor to be on the podcast. Always fun with you boys, even though I still hate Tuck on the track. I'm excited. I don't know about y'all, but I'm excited to get racing again, man. It feels like it's been too long. So let's get out there. Let's see what we got at Daytona. I'm sure Ronnie will do a great job calling the race. And, man, let's get racing. Let's do it.
Absolutely. But that is going to do it for this NEXXTCAR podcast to kick off Season 7 of the NEXXTCAR Racing League. And it all gets started this upcoming weekend on Sunday when the return of the Truck Series gets going at Daytona for 100 laps. And on Monday night, the Next Gen Cup cars get to do it for 130 drama-filled laps. So, hey, you know how it goes. The big one always happens at super speedways. It's just a matter of when and where. But that's going to do it for this one, folks. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and we will catch you guys this weekend. Enjoy the rest of your night, and God bless.